Hello, my name is Francisco Oliveira, and I am going to talk in this video about the different formats in which we can store vector data. So remember, vector data are going to be points, lines, or polygons. One of these formats is shapefiles. So let's talk first about shapefiles. Shapefiles are going to be groups of files. Each of them is going to have a different extension, but they all share the same name. So, for example, based on what we've done before, we had a shapefile of cities. So we have cities SHP, cities SHX, cities DBF. So those three files are indispensable. You do not have a shape file without having the three files. So this is important. All the files are the shapefile, not only the one that has the extension SHP. In these files, the two that I consider the most important are the ones that has extension SHP. That is the one that has all the geographic information, the coordinates of the points, the coordinates of the vertices of the lines, and the sequence in which they have to be connected. Same thing with polygons, the coordinates of the vertices and how they should be connected. So all that information is stored in the SHP file. In the DBF file, you're going to store the table. The SHX has to do with the indexing of the elements. And there are other files. You can see all the different files. For example, the PRJ has to do with the projection of the data. So there are many different files. You can have a shapefile with three files, the three that I showed you before, or with more files, which include the first three plus others. So let's switch the screen to the file manager, file explorer. So this is going to be my file explorer. And let's look inside Esri data. I'm in the file explorer here. So this is just a Windows application. This has nothing to do with GIS. So I'm opening Esri data. I'm opening USA. And you can see, for example, that all these files, all those files, 12 files, are going to be part of the shapefile called cities. So you can see one of them has extension SHP, another one has extension DBF, another one has extension SHX. So those are the three that have to be there for sure. There's also one that has the extension PRJ for the projection. All these four files with a long name, you can see that it says loc. They are files with a very, very small size. Look at the size of those logs, very small. The only thing that those files are doing is making sure that only one user can open those files. So in this moment, cities is locked. If you have access to my hard drive, you might read cities, but you cannot write it because it's locked. If I close ArcGIS Pro, all these log files are going to disappear. So I can say that a shapefile is only 7 files, and those 7 files are going to be those 7 files. The others are logs. As I said, they exist only while cities is being used by ArcGIS. So if you want to move these files, take them to another computer, give them to somebody else, you have to keep them all together, but it's all together that they constitute a shapefile. Same thing is going to happen, for example, uh, with roads. Again, I have 12 items, but 7 are log files. In the case of rivers, I can see the 7. There are no log files here because ArcGIS is not uh, using rivers. It's not calling rivers, so that's why it's not logged. So this is how a shapefile looks in the File Explorer. Let's see how a shapefile looks in ArcGIS. So now you can see my ArcGIS screen. Let's look for the class data. I have it here because I make the folder connection before. I expand this. I have Esri data here, Esri data USA. And you can see, for example, cities, roads, states. You can also see rivers. So all these are shapefiles. It says .shp, but it doesn't mean that it's only the SHP file. It's all of them together. Now, notice that these shapefiles are represented by a green icon. And the icon is different for points. Look at cities. Lines, look at roads. And polygons, look at states. So these green icons correspond to shapefiles. Now, we can also store this information in another format. So let's go back to the presentation. And another format is going to be feature classes in geodatabases. So what is a geodatabase? A geodatabase is going to be a database. A database that, well, databases are collections of tables, collections of classes. That's what they are. And a class is a collection of objects. So you put a number of tables all together, that is a database. Now, if the tables are related, for example, you can have your employee number, and based on your employee number, there's a table that says some type of privilege that you can have. In another table, it says your personal information. The two tables can be related through your employee number or your name, but you can relate the tables. In those cases, you're going to have a relational database. Additionally, if at least one of these classes, one of these tables, has geographic information, then it is called a geodatabase. Geo because it has geographic information. Notice that when I say geographic information, I am not saying the word Austin or the word Texas or the words Rio Grande. I am saying the coordinates of a point that represents Austin, a polygon that represents Texas, or a line that represents the Rio Grande. So the actual geographic information. So if one of the tables has that geographic information, then that is going to be a geodatabase. That geographic information is the shape that we were talking about when we mention tables. So we want to convert, for example, the cities shapefile. We would like to convert it into a feature class. Class means a collection of objects. A feature class would be a collection of features. So you can have a feature class of points, a feature class of lines, or a feature class of polygons. So our geodatabases can be of two types. They can be a mobile geodatabase, also called personal geodatabase, or it can be a file geodatabase. A mobile or personal geodatabase has the advantage of being one single file. That is very convenient. Has a disadvantage of having a maximum size of 2 gigabytes, which might be small in some cases. And has, let's say, the disadvantage there is a single editor. Many people can read the geodatabase, but only one can edit it. Pretty much the same thing that happens when you open a Word document. Only one user can write on it. Many people can read it. The file geodatabase has, I wouldn't call it a disadvantage, but instead of being one file, is one folder. And inside the folder, you're going to see different files that represent the different data sets. But I would recommend you don't look inside. Just know that your folder, that is the geodatabase. Now, in this case, each data set can be up to 1 terabyte. So now we're talking about huge data sets of file geodatabases can be much bigger. They don't have to be, but they can be much bigger. So many times it's better to work with file geodatabases because you are not going to have a size constraint. Just like a personal geodatabase or mobile geodatabase, this is a single editor, multiple readers. And then there are other geodatabases that are called enterprise geodatabase that does not have size limit. And this one allows multiple editors and multiple readers. So that has that advantage and is usually used by big corporations, big companies, or big government agencies. In this class, and I bet most part of your life, you're going to be using file geodatabases. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a file geodatabase, and then we're going to import or export cities, roads, and states to our file geodatabase. So we're going to present the information that we've seen in shapefile format. We're going to present it in feature class format. So this is going to be the geodatabase, and these are going to be the feature classes. We haven't talked yet about this that is called feature datasets, but feature classes are just another way of storing vector data. In the same way that you can store vector data in WordPerfect, or you can also store it in Notepad. Each format has advantages and disadvantages. You can also store vector data in shapefile format or also feature classes. So let's go to, let's switch the screen to ArcGIS. I'm going to disappear those labels because they are too big. So where it says label, okay, so I'm not labeling them anymore. So I am going to create here in this folder, the folder that is called Learning GIS. That is the folder where we've created the data, the project. So I'm going to right click here and I'm going to say new file geodatabase. I'm going to create a new file geodatabase. Remember, a file geodatabase is a folder, so it's going to be stored also in a folder. That's what I click here in this folder, right click, new file geodatabase. Okay, and now the learning GIS has been expanded. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it FO. That are my initials. And then the underscore file geo database. I mean, that's how I'm going to call it. I mean, you can put whichever name you want. So I created a geo database. I could have used this one as well, this geo database, but I wanted to create it so that you can see how a geo database is created. I just right click in the folder, chose new, and then chose file geo database. Okay, we're not going to create another one. So now that I'm in this FO file geodatabase, I can import shapefiles into this file geodatabase. So I'm going to import cities, for example. Right click, import. So what do I want to import? I want to import feature classes. What do I want to import? Cities. So let's find the data. Is this US cities? If I want to import something that is not in the contents, I have to click on this folder and go directly and dig in my hard drive. But in this case, I want to import something that is already in the content. So that's why it's listed here, cities. I could import another one, but we're going to import only one for now. Where is it going to go? It's going to go in this geo database. So when I click run, what is going to happen? We're going to have something like a copy of US cities, but instead of being in shapefile format, it's going to be a feature class in the geo database that we just created. Okay, so let's display this in catalog. Okay, so now I have this feature class of cities. I'm going to add this feature class from here to the map, and you can see the cities. I mean, for us as users, there's no difference between the one that is in the feature in the file geodatabase and the one that is in the shapefile. They both look exactly the same. Perhaps the points are different color, but that's not relevant. I'm saying it's the same points, same number of points in exactly the same locations. So it's just it's the same data, but in different format. You can see the original one was here under S3 data, and then United States, here it is. It was these cities, shapefile with green icon. Now here we have feature class with white icon. So what we've done is we imported from the geodatabase. We can also export. If we locate ourselves here, for example, states, I'm going to export it, export. and it's going to be feature classes to GeoDatabase. So why do I want to export states? It's giving me also the option of choosing roads so that we reproduce cities, roads, and states in the GeoDatabase. So I'm going to say roads here. And what is it supposed to go? Learning GIS? No. So let's locate where this is. It's going to be under is here under folders. Learning GIS, I extend this one. That's what I want. So I need it to be written here. So this is going to be the location where the new feature classes are going to be. So these are the shapefiles. And this is the file geodatabase. So I click run. Okay, it's ready. Let's look at it in catalog. Okay, and here you see the file geodatabase. It has rows, states, and US cities. Let's switch to the file explorer. So I'm going to stop sharing this. And let's switch to the file explorer. And in the file explorer, I'm taking time here because I forgot where the Learning GIS is. So while you keep on seeing the file explorer, I'm actually looking at the ArcGIS screen. I'm just not sharing it. Okay, so now you can see. Here it is. Learning GIS. And now you have our geodatabase. File geodatabase is a folder, just like I told you. And if you open this, you see all this that you don't understand, but you don't need to understand it. You just know that your file geodatabase is a folder, and that folder is located under Learning GIS. Okay, let's go back to ArcGIS Pro. And something that we're going to do now is we're going to create a feature data set. A feature data set is going to be a container inside a geodatabase in which you can put data. So why would you like to put your data in this container? I would say for the same reason in which you organize your data in folders so that you can separate data that have something in common. So we're going to create a feature data set in our geodatabase FOFGDB. We're going to create a feature data set. And feature data set. And I'm going to call it Europe because I'm going to put data of Europe there. The coordinate system, we could choose in which coordinate system we want the data to be. But for now, let's take this suggestion. And the important thing is that whatever data we add to our feature data set is going to be converted on the fly to this projection. So all the data in the feature data set is going to be in this projection. Okay, so we had a feature data set. Let's look at this. Here you are. Look at the different icon. And there's nothing there. If I expand this, there's nothing there. But let's import some data of Europe from Esri Data Europe. I'm going to import data. So import, I right-click on Europe, and I say import feature classes are actually going to be shapefiles. What do I want to import? It's not listed in content, so I'm not going to find it here. I'm going to go to the folder, and then in the folder are under Learning GIS. Actually, I want to go one level above so that I look at my data, and then Esri Data, and then Europe. And I'm going to add country and also urban. Let's add cities as well. I'm a little bit hesitant because sometimes geodatabases don't want to have feature classes with the same name, although they might be in different feature data sets. So I don't know if that's going to be a problem, but the cities of the US that we imported were called US cities. So chances are there will not be a problem. So we're adding these 3 shape files with data of Europe. We're going to add them to our file geodatabase. So I click run. Okay, so let's display now a catalog. And now you can see in the file data set, you have cities, country, and major urban for Europe. Let's add this data to the map, but let's use the other map that we created before that is empty for now. So let's add cities. Those are the cities of Europe. Those are the countries of Europe. And these are going to be the major urban areas. So you've seen what a shapefile is, what a feature class is, what a geodatabase is. You have created a geodatabase. You have imported feature classes to the geodatabase. You have created a feature data set, and you have imported feature classes inside your feature data set. So those are the data formats, shapefiles, and feature classes inside geodatabases. In the next video, we're going to be talking about map projections.